on the surface of them right now. Unfortunately, that's just the way the weather's panned out.
I'm going to stick with the same color jig and stick with the same pattern all day and see if I can't piece 5 together again.
If the sun comes out tomorrow, I think that some fish will get on the docks. They haven't been on the docks very good at all. I know there's a few fish came off of them, but last year it was so unbelievable for me. I could just about call my shots where I needed to throw my tube bait to get a bite.
It's supposed to be sunny, so I'm going to run up the river about 30 miles from here, from the launch site, and get into the more off-colored water. And I think the fish will bite a little bit better with the sunshine and off-colored water.
The 2001 Bassmasters Tournament Trail, presented by Long John Silver's. This is the Bassmasters Central Invitational, brought to you by Ebertroll.
Hello and welcome to Lake of the Ozarks for the second of 4 Central Invitational events here on the Bassmasters Tournament Trail. A share of $227,000 is up for grabs today as 300 professional anglers prepare to hit the lake. It's been cold and rainy all week here in Missouri, and the sun hasn't been out for days. But that hasn't stopped Virginia's Kurt Lytle, today's leader. And my co-host Fish Fishburne is with him now.
Well, it's 15 minutes till 7 o'clock in the morning. Man, oh man, is it cold. It's in the 20s, Kurt. What are you going to do today?
I'm going to drive about 70 miles up the lake and thoroughly freeze myself. Then hope that these fish are still feeding up there. We'll kind of see how it goes, but I feel like there's a bunch of fish there, and I feel like their metabolism has slowed down so much. I'm really kind of reserved as to whether I can catch 5 of them today or not. I'm going to try as hard as I absolutely can.
You've got some great anglers right on your heels now. A couple of the guys are what we're going to call locals today. They've got a pretty good shot at it. The top 5 all weighed a limit yesterday, and your lead right now is just around 1.5 pounds. You got to bring me 5.
Well, Fish, I do have to bring 5 if I'm going to win this thing, but I wish you hadn't mentioned that about the locals. It kind of bugs me, and it kind of doesn't, because I'm not fishing against them. I'm trying to catch the fish, adapt to the changes, and feel what kind of mood they're in and what kind of baits they want to bite, what their speed for the day may be, and let the chips fall where they may after that.
We talk about these tournaments. This is, in fact, a draw tournament where there are 2 anglers in one boat fishing side by side. Have you talked with your partner? Have you got the strategies down? And is he with you 100% this morning?
He's backing me 100%. I've had really great partners throughout this tournament, and I have to because I don't have a lot of fish, and these guys are giving me the opportunity to catch these fish first before they cast into the areas, and I need that opportunity because there's just not that many of them there, I don't believe, and the ones that are there are so lethargic. My partner today says he's just going to cast around and see what happens, but I'm going to do what I have to do, and I'm going to hammer the bank as hard as I can and fish real tight and just hope they're there.
Our leader is from Virginia, but 5 of the top 10 anglers are from Missouri, including 3 guys that are very familiar with this lake. Mark Tucker, Scott Pauley, and Chad Brower, who are sitting in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place.
Well, it's always tough to fish a tournament period on your home lake because you actually have too much experience, and a lot of times that hurts you. If you start struggling in the morning, then your mind gets to wondering about all the other places that you've caught fish in the past and that could be producing fish right now. And half the key to it is just picking an area and sticking with it and figuring out what the fish are doing there, and hopefully you pick the right area for that week.
Texas pro Todd Faircloth is in 5th, and another local pro, Marty McGuire, is sitting tied with Texas pro Jay Yellis in 6th place.
The year that I wanted here on this dock pattern was fishing different docks every day, and I could never go back to the same dock where I caught fish the day before and catch them again. So I've had to keep moving to new docks, and that's what I did today. I didn't fish anywhere where I caught fish the first day.
And another tie for 9th place is Dustin Wilkes and Randy Jackson. Randy, another Missouri pro, was able to win this tournament last year.
Well, last year I was here in a pair of shorts. It was in the 80 degrees, and everybody was having an enjoyable tournament. This year we're sub-freezing temperatures, and it's really been a tough battle just to compose yourself and concentrate on what you were doing.
Cold, wet weather and cloudy days have been the story so far, but with a payout of $51,000 for 1st place, which includes a new Ranger boat, these guys will take this cold weather one more day. In fact, we'll see if any of the local pros can use their home field advantage, or if Virginia's Kurt Lytle can hold on for the championship, and this the final day of the Bassmasters.
The Bassmasters, brought to you by Long John Silver's. You can't resist the cravings. Evertroll, stay out longer, catch more fish. Pennzoil Marine, it's the right equipment for fishing. Berkeley Trilene, catch more fish. And by Bass Pro Shops, the world's leading supplier of premium fishing tackle.
I think whoever wins is going to have another one of those 13-pound strings again. You know, that the top guys. You know, I'm just working real hard to catch a limit. I had a purse just popping it, and you know, it may be tough. My whole goal was just to finish strong and not to stumble here. The fishing's tough, and it'd be real easy to just catch one or two and fall.
I don't think he'll keep.
Welcome back to Lake of the Ozarks. Now, fish, this is a big lake. These competitors, they have a lot of water to fish.
Big lake. Reed, it's a huge lake. They can fish from Bagnell Dam all the way to Truman Dam, which is about 90 miles. But, hey, this thing's got more shoreline than Lake Michigan.
There's a lot of water to run out there, and especially cold water. We've had a cold front come through recently, and, I mean, I'm freezing right now. What are these guys going through?
Well, you know, these guys are professionals. They're out there working hard. The cold really won't bother them like it would you or I out there right now. But I'll tell you something. Cold water conditions on this particular lake make these bass bite, especially the spotted bass. They've been out there for 2 days. They've got one more competition day. You got to watch the cold weather, knock the water temperature down, and get the shad moving so the fish bite better.
I think the water temperature has dropped probably 6 degrees in the area that I'm fishing this week, and I think the fish are starting to bite better. There's more fish starting to come up, and I think you'll see more fish wade in as the week goes on.
The cold front has basically dropped the water temperature anywhere from 7 or 8 to even 12 to 15 degrees in places, and what that basically does for a week is usually hurts the fishing. But it was so hot for this time of the year prior to this cold front that I think it's actually helped the fishing a little bit, and I think we'll be a little soon to get the benefit of this cold front, but probably next week the fishing will be real good here.
They were kind of getting on the banks and starting to chase the shad, and the boat dock pattern was working real well like I did last year. And it's all changed. The fish are beginning to feel the cold temperatures on top of them, and the lake temperature some places dropped 10 degrees, so they're beginning to go down and get a little deeper on my pattern.
Fish, is it surprising to you that our leader, Kurt Lytle, has only fished this water one time before, and especially with so many local guys doing well in this tournament?
Well, it really does, but you know, Kurt Lytle has nothing to lose. He's fishing a technique that he enjoys, that he's good at, and it's paying off for him. Talk about locals, Mark Tucker, Scott Pauley, and Chad Brower from right here at Osage Beach. Man, these guys have been on this lake thousands of times. You got to watch him. He's only got Lytle's got a 1-7 lead, I believe, going into this final day.
I'm getting quality bites, and my partner had one about 5 or 6 pounds chase up his bait today, but didn't catch it. And I'm fishing against good conditions, but at least I found a wad of fish, and you're better off with a wad than you are good conditions.
What about Randy Jackson? This is a guy a lot of people have forgot about, and he's a guy that won it last year.
He is our current champion, and you know he came in here under tough conditions and caught over 34 pounds of bass. He's not that far out of first place right now. He's in the number 9 spot. You better watch him. He could catch 5 and make a big move.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to have one good spot where I can catch some largemouths, and yesterday I pulled 3 good keepers out of there, and today I pulled 3 good keepers out today. I had a 4-pounder to go in the bag today, so that bumped me on up. I needed my 5th fish yesterday to really keep me up at the top, and I didn't get him. So I'm going to have to bounce back on a 5-pounder somewhere and make up the difference.
All right, it's going to be an interesting day here in the final day of competition. Let's go out to the water and check in on our anglers.
Kurt Lytle has caught 28 pounds and 12 ounces fishing a suspended jerkbait next to Rock Bluffs. But this morning, it's only produced smaller fish, and that's not a good sign when you're fishing for $51,000.
I'm doing the exact same thing today so far. Same bait, same everything, same area. I've had trouble going back over the same water and getting bit the last couple of days. I've had to kind of fish new stretches and that. And I'm just going to work some of the stuff I fished yesterday, and if I can catch a few, that'd be fine. If not, I'll start running new water probably.
I just get frustrated when I just can't seem to find the right area today. This lake has always been when you're on this fishing this pattern, it's hard to fish the same water every day, and it's because you're just catching a fish out of an isolated brush pile that's under a dock, and it's very seldom does another keeper swim back in there during the tournament. And so you just got to keep moving, fishing new water all the time, and it's, you know, now I'm fishing water that I haven't even fished all week, not even in practice, and so I don't know where any fish are at this point. I know how to catch them. I know the technique that's been working for me, but I'm out of fish. All the fish I've been bit on in practice, I've already caught. So I got to just keep looking for new fish. Just keep fishing. Trying to do the same thing I've been doing all week, but maybe just in different locations.
I don't really know what the big change is. The weather's not that much different. I would think that they'd be more active, but even the little ones aren't biting. I'll probably end up switching to something slower a little later on, but I've just got way too much confidence in this right now because it's the only thing I've had a lot of bites on all week.
The 2001 Bassmasters Tournament Trail, presented by Long John Silver's.
Gosh, what a fighting little fish. Ain't even gonna keep.
I thought you had the big one.
Dustin Wilkes in the 9th spot has to make up a bunch of weight, but this North Carolina pro knows exactly what it takes to win. Dustin is fishing a pink super fluke with an erratic action to produce his strikes. And with the water temperatures dropping a bit, this pattern could be the winning ticket.
Nice one, Chad.
Man, I can't believe I lost that other one.
Uh-huh.
I can't believe I lost that other fish. Not good.
This water has cleared since the first day, and that is probably changing things somehow. Man, has it cleared up. When I was here before, I couldn't see the bait. Now I can watch it. There's almost no reason to feel for it.
On the right side. It's a good one. That's a good one.
Come on, baby. Stay pegged.
Oh. You ready? Oh, man, just the lightest tick in the world. That fish just barely touched it. Do me a favor. Hold the jerk bait up while I set the net down, so I don't hang it anymore. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, just the lightest tick. Oh, look at that. On the outside of the nose, it was barely even hooked.
There you go.
Now I got a 180-pounder. Is that what you weigh? Beautiful chunk.
Well, actually, I had a spinnerbait pattern up the ways up the river a little bit, and I've been catching some quality largemouth. I got one out of there today, a 4-pounder. Throwing some Johnson spinnerbaits, tandem willow leaf, and some Johnson jigs. Mike introduced me to the product down in Louisiana, and it's just worked great dividends for me this tournament. I've caught my best fish on the spinnerbait, so I'm kind of tickled I run into Mike down in Louisiana. And the first thing I asked him when I drew him yesterday, I said I need another one of those spinnerbaits. So he handed it over, and I've got 2 fish in the live well because of it.
The last fish I boated, and then the one that I lost just a couple docks before it were both on fairly shallow docks, probably 2 to 4 feet of water. which is a bit shallower than any of the bites I've been getting the last 2 days, and we just saw good fish swimming, which may be a sign that the fish are finally moving shallow with this colder water, when the water's finally cooling down. Normally when it gets to 60 and the high 50s, they're up in that shallow water and feeding pretty heavy, and the water dropped from 70 to 60 so quick that it's probably taken them a week or so to get acclimated to it and start biting.
What I'm keying on is these steep rock banks with this bigger chunk rock in them. I'm just throwing a little bitty old small Jewel Aiken jig with the Zoom Critter Crawl trailer. The bite's slow, you know, it's had this first major cold front of the year, and you know, it's tough fishing, so you're not getting a lot of bites. But I was trying to key on these little steeper banks. It seemed like some of the fish that were scattered when the weather was warmer have moved to these steeper banks a little bit. These bigger rocks, I think, are just helping hold the heat just a little bit.
The water temperature just, you know, been dropping, and but you know, every day you've had to really pay attention to the water temperature and the type of bank you're fishing, and you have to be real precise on your flipping and not fish too fast.
The Bassmasters Pro Tip, brought to you by Ebertrol.
I'm Kurt Lytle. About a 3-year veteran of the BASS circuit, and so I'm fairly new at this, but one of the things I've learned is that in the fall, you have got to be efficient. And the reason for that is in the fall, a lot of times the fish are scattered out. And because they're scattered out, especially here on Lake the Ozarks, there's a variety of cover. You've got a lot of rock, you've got chunk rock, you've got slab rock, you've got bluffs and trees. And what's important about this is that you think of your lures as tools, because in any given day, if you go out and you catch 5 fish, frequently you're going to catch them on 3 or 4 different lures. So you need to be as efficient as possible. For that, I recommend using a crankbait rod with a snap on it. Taking off the split ring from the eye of the crankbait and just using a snap. That allows you to take your crankbait on and off quickly. I keep 3 or 4 of them up on the front deck just stuck in the carpet. Something else I'm doing is I'm using a reel here by Shimano that allows me to pitch, flip, or cast. Makes no difference. All of my bait casting reels are absolutely identical, and the only thing that changes is the line size on them and the rods they go on. Also, keep your lures very, very basic, because a spinnerbait and a jig and a crankbait will go a long ways. You may want to mix in some soft plastics if the bite's, you know, not that strong, or if the jig's not working well. But don't overcomplicate it, because the fish aren't fussy. It's more a matter of putting it in front of one. Since fall is a time of transition, and the fish are always moving around, by following these tips and always thinking efficiently about how to cover the water, then you'll be able to present your bait to more fish in a day's time, and especially with an 8-hour tournament day, you will catch more fish using these tips and thinking about saving time.
That's half the key in these invitationals, is if you get a chance to win, if you draw somebody that will let you do what you need to do all day to win. I mean, I know a few years ago that Dion had a real good chance of winning here, and it just so happened he got paired up with Takahiro. He was leading, and Dion was like in 3rd, so, you know, the only choice you have is you got to give the guy who's leading his choice of what to do, and so they went, and Dion ended up, you know, 3rd or 4th, and that kid ended up winning. But luck of the draw does mean something in these tournaments, and I've been fortunate enough today to draw somebody that will give me a chance to do what I need to do to at least have a chance of winning. Now, I may not be able to pull it off, but at least I have a chance, and that's all you can ask. All right, bring him aboard.
I got him.
All right, man.
They're really trying to figure out this morning if it's changed, because the wind's in the completely opposite direction from what it was the last 2 days, and they're trying to figure out if it's moved the fish or if they're still in the same place that they were. So we're getting a few bites, but no keepers yet.
I'll need a net. Yes, sir. Just put in the water. This one's got it good now. Good. Man, that is sweet. Thank you, Trent. Beautiful.
Win yourself a tournament, bud.
Neil, that's a good question. There's several ways to rig a soft plastic jerk bait. The top side or the bottom side, I've seen pros do it either way. I think you can do it either way, but I always use the soft plastic jerk bait and make it look natural, just like the fish would be swimming upright. Real important to use a hook like this Owner J hook with this 90-degree bend, or actually a little more than 90-degree bend, to keep the bait straight. I go in the bait only about 1/4 of an inch and right back out, turn the bait down, where that offset holds the hook from sliding into plastic. Then I actually measure right here the distance of that hook right there with my thumb, and that's where I enter this soft jerk bait right there. And come right out, so it's perfectly straight. And another really good thing to do, I keep with my tool kit in the boat, some fishing glue. Just take a drop of fishing glue, put right there just like so. And that'll keep the bait from sliding down. It'll make your plastic last an awful lot longer. And I think you'll catch more fish if you have the action like this and keep that bait straight. And hope it works out for you, Neil.
Send your answer line question to Bassmaster Answer Line, 5845 Carmichael Road, Montgomery, Alabama 36117. Please include a picture with name, address, and telephone number.
The hour hand is moving fast on this, the final day of the Missouri Bassmasters Central Invitational. With half of the fishing time gone for our competitors, it's now or never. Lake of the Ozarks, a local lake for 3 of our top 5 competitors, has played no favorites. Mark Tucker, second place so far going into the final day, has been plagued with short fish. Currently, he has only 2 small keepers. Third place, Scott Pauley, another Missouri pro, has seen his dream of winning slipping away with time. The water temperature continues to drop, shutting down the jig bites, and he's struggling to catch his first keeper bass. The 15-inch length limit has challenged these pros, but the one who knows this lake the best might have met the challenge. That would be Chad Brower. He's in the number 4 spot going into today, and he slowed down his presentation to boat 3 fish weighing close to 9 pounds. But Chad's real challenge is to overcome the 4.5-pound lead that Kurt Lytle held coming into today's competition. Now, Kurt is responding well to this challenge. As a matter of fact, he ran way up the river where he caught some fish on the last 2 days, and by fishing the suspended jerkbait, he's managed to put 2 fish in the boat weighing close to 6 pounds. Now, that's not enough to call it a win, especially being chased by some of the top pros in the country, but time could be on his side.
This is just my guess that the biggest fish are holding on the rocks that have fallen off the bluff. The smaller fish, which these are smaller fish, are on the bluff itself, if I were to guess. And the reason I say that is because I caught a 5-pounder off the bluff the first day, and my partner had one 5 or 6 pounds chase his up, and it was off the bluff also.
We still got probably 4 hours good fishing left, so we're gonna keep our baits wet. That's my best tip for the day, to try to catch 5. It's been real tough. I only had 5 keeper bites yesterday and 4 on the day before, so what I'm catching is quality. So that's what I'm going after.
They like to get back on these little bluff banks, and kind of like this stuff we're fishing right here.
Mark Tucker is fishing with Slade Dearman on this, the final day. Slade finished well in the first Central Invitational held on the Red River in Louisiana, but Lake of the Ozarks has not been his friend this week. Slade, like the other 300 pros competing here, is not only fishing for over $227,000 in cash and prizes, but for a chance to make the Bassmasters Classic. Only 5 spots are available through the Central Invitationals, and the competition is tremendous. We'll see who's leading here and how the classic standings look when we come back with more action from Lake of the Ozarks.
The 2001 Bassmasters Tournament Trail, presented by Long John Silver's. This is the Bassmasters Central Invitational. Brought to you by Ebertrol.
Lake of the Ozarks hosts more fishing tournaments in Missouri than any other lake. And hey, that's a pretty good indication that there's lots of bass here. Well, we had a chance to catch up with Greg Stoner, a fisheries management biologist with the Missouri Department of Conservation.
Prior to 1976, there was no specific minimum length limit on black bass in Lake of the Ozarks. At that time, most of the fish in the lake were 12 inches or less in length, and the numbers were quite a bit down from where they are now. In 1976, we established a 15-inch minimum length limit on all black bass, and saw results almost immediately. 1 year after the length limit went into effect, the numbers of fish over 15-inch practically doubled. Now, it takes less than 10 hours for the average fisherman to catch a legal bass. Prior to that length limit in 76, it took more than 25 hours for an angler to catch any size bass, so our numbers have increased quite a bit. In 1998, we reduced the length limit on spotted bass from 15 inches down to 12 inches. We did this for several reasons. For one, since the early 80s, we've seen a steady increase in the number of spotted bass in the lake compared to largemouth bass. Now, spotted bass are great game fish. They provide a lot of sport, but they grow quite a bit slower than largemouth bass do in the same setting. Spotted bass that's 12 inches long is the same age as a largemouth that's 15 inches long. So by managing spotted bass under a 15-inch length limit, we were seeing a lot of natural mortality taking place on the spotted bass population before they were ever available for harvest. Our regulations are set not only to establish a quality bass fishery, but also we take into account the growth rates of the fish. The 15-inch length limit on this lake is set in order to maximize the potential of the growth rates of largemouth bass. The first 4 to 5 years of the life in a largemouth bass is when they put on most of their growth, and after that point it slows down quite a bit. Once a fish reaches 15 inches, then natural mortality becomes a factor and you start losing fish due to natural causes. So we set the 15-inch length limit to allow anglers to harvest fish after the period of fastest growth, but before natural mortality starts taking a lot of fish out of the population.
A little bit after noon on the final day of competition, and I've only got 2 keepers in the boat today. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm doing the same thing I did in the last 2 days. I've tried fishing a lot of new water today, and fished some of my water I've been catching them on, just not getting bit. The sun's starting to come out now for the first time all week, and that may help this dock flipping pattern a little bit. I'm hoping it will.
When you're jerkbait fishing in cold water, you want to jerk it and have a little bit of slack, but not too much slack. And what you're going to feel is like a tap on a worm. All you got to do is set the hook quick, but you do have to set the hook quick because it'll blow it out.
Fish. Like little, coming right at the boat. I thought he was better than that when I set the hook.
It doesn't get any cooler than this. Sports in Demand delivered.
Water was clear and I could see the fish head, and that just got me so fired up, that one fish.
I knew when I first met him, he was a great outdoorsman. He loved fishing and he loved hunting. And when we got married, he still did the same thing, and he was involved in the bass clubs and he was fishing all the time. And when he decided to do it, I thought, well, you know, it's his dream, and if he wants to try to do it, then I'm all behind him.
I ended up, I think I finished 20th in the first one and won me $1,000. And back then that seemed like I was really rich, you know, with that $1,000. I probably spent $1,100 to go get that $1,000, but that gave me the confidence and the encouragement to try to do it for a living. And it took me about 2 years before I really made the transition into a full-time fisherman.
Watching Dad's success as I grew up obviously was the inspiration for what I've become and what I do for my career now. And I've put all my schoolwork, geared it toward being a professional bass fisherman, and that's the only job I've really ever had.
I told him, I says, I tell you what I'll do. If you go to college and get your education, I will be your #1 sponsor and get you started in the sport. And he went to the University of Missouri and got him a degree in fisheries and wildlife and graduated with honors, and we were very, very proud of how he applied himself there. And he's really applied himself correctly on the water since then and has really built himself a good career.
I really think that Chad wants to do as well, if not better, than his dad. But I think it's going to take time, and I think Chad makes Denny a better fisherman too, because I think it keeps Denny on the ball and makes him fish a little harder.
Well, sharing experience with Chad on the tournament trail is absolutely fabulous. I don't know whether it can get any better than that. There's a lot of anglers out there that work together and dissect lakes and figure out game plans, but working with Chad, shoot, we can plan all this ahead of time at home, figure out what areas of the lake each of us are going to go explore, and then come in at night, you know, just kind of compare notes, and we know that we're in business together. We're both being perfectly honest with each other, and we're going to do what's best for both parties. And, you know, we just work together so well that way. It's made us both better fishermen.
There's a large amount of competition between us, but it's also, you also like to see the both of you do good, but it's also nice to be able to come home on the CB and say, yeah, well, I beat you this week. For the most part, I get on the short end of that stick the last few years. He's been so hot that there's not many people that have beat him, much less me. I've basically been pitching a Strike King Pro Model jig in a color that just seems to work in this region of the country. It's called Chameleon Craw, and it's just a basic version of brown with some gold and red flake in it. And this week I've been throwing a 1/2 ounce jig, basically because all my bites have been while I've been working it on the bottom. And with the windy conditions we've had, and as fast as I like to fish, that 1/2 ounce allows me to keep it on the bottom where the basic strike zone of the fish has been. I've been lucky enough to upscale to 20-pound line since it's been cloudy. The water's got basically about 4 foot of visibility in it. And if that sun would pop out, I think I'd probably have to downsize line to get more bites. But as long as it stays cloudy, I think I can stay with this 20-pound strand that I've been using. Now in Lake of the Ozarks, the only real cover aside from rocks are floating docks. And so what I'm trying to do is concentrate on the 4 to 8 foot of water underneath and around the docks.
We're working these straight bluff banks. They got some broken rock up on them, and we're taking jigs and bouncing them around the rocks. And we're not getting many bites, but they've been pretty good bites here all week, so we're trying to just fill out our limit. I've got 2 and Mike's got 1, and we both got some quality bass. Green pumpkin seems to be the color they like today. Using 20-pound Maxima line, something we can get them out of those rocks with and not have too much trouble.
There he is. He may not be a keeper, but gosh, he is. He is a keeper. Come on, buddy. He's wrapped up pretty good now. He's a spawn. You ready? Good deal. Thank you.
That just might be the fish that Kurt Lytle needs to win this tournament. Kurt has been very, very patient today, and he's stuck with his pattern, and it's paying off. We'll be back with a final weigh-in from the Bassmasters Missouri Central Invitational.
It's been a tough 3 days of fishing here at Lake of the Ozarks. Our competitors are coming in the first flight. Let's take it to Fisherman on the stage who's ready for the weigh-in.
That's right, Reed. And for day 3's competition here in the state park, we've got a great crowd. And hey, if the fishing maintains the same trend that we've been on, the weights are going to get bigger, and we're possibly going to see more limits, making this the best day of competition. Hey, let's get the show started. Let's bring him up here, folks. We're watching right now. Todd Faircloth, all the way from Jasper, Texas. He knows he's going home in the next event on Sam Rayburn. Todd, how many bass?
I got 5 fish.
Uh-oh. What place were you coming in?
5th.
In the number 5 spot, the kid's going to make a move towards the top. Pee-wee Powers. Watch the weight. 12 pounds even. Got it. 12 pounds. Reach in there, Todd Faircloth, and show me some bass. He's unofficially got the lead right now. Woo! Look at those beautiful bass. They're going to weigh about 2.5 to 3 pounds apiece. Tell me about the day, man. You got the lead right now.
Well, I tell you, Fish, I was really nervous. I didn't put a keeper in the boat until 10:30 this morning, and I was about to abandon what I'd been doing, you know, and I pulled up on one spot, and I caught 3 real quick, and earlier in the week, I caught most of my fish further back in the creeks, but as water temperature dropped this week, the fish started coming out towards the main river. The water's warmer out there, and I think it kind of pushed them out a little bit, and I just kind of tried to follow them out.
You had a great week, my man. I hope it holds on to the number 1 spot.
Thanks, Fish.
All right, there he goes, Todd Faircloth. We move right along.
And we're here with Chad Brower, local hometown angler. How'd it go today?
Well, not as good as I'd like. I ended up having 9 keeper bites today, and I only boated 8 of them. And I think I'm probably going to end up a few pounds short, but I had a partner today to give me every opportunity to do what I wanted to do, and it just probably isn't going to work out, but it's going to be a decent finish anyway.
Well, still probably going to be in the top 10 with 5 fish. Home lake, you got to like that.
Yeah, your home lake's always tough to fish because you almost know too much a lot of the time, and you got to narrow it down just to 1 or 2 areas and try to concentrate on them and hope for the best, hope you pick the right areas. And I may not have picked quite the right area, but it came close this time.
He's down there in what spot, Dustin?
9th place.
In the number 9 spot. We're going to roll some tape for ESPN2, the Deuce, the new home of the Bassmasters, with a 5-fish limit for Dustin Wilkes. Watch him. 13 pounds, 8 ounces, 13.8. Dustin, show us some of them. Y'all give him a big round of applause. Let's get a calculation. We go to the Emperor. He sticks 13 pounds and 8 ounces on top of that spot from yesterday, a spot in his right hand and a largemouth in his left. He's made a charge. Dustin, what did you do out there?
I had a real good day. I had a good partner that knew I was in the position where I could possibly win the tournament, Marty Fourkiller, and he let me do my thing all day long, and I really owe what I caught to him because I got to fish real slow and do exactly what I needed to do.
And you tell me what bait you were using?
I was throwing a couple of different baits throughout the week. I was throwing a small 3/16 ounce jig, Zoom fluke, and a culprit jerkworm.
I just got an unofficial calculation. You've locked yourself in the top 3. I don't know where you fell, but they said top 3.
That sounds good to me.
All right, Dustin Wilkes, there he goes. At 23 years old, man, he's having a strong year.
Coming in today, how'd you do?
Well, I only caught 3 small fish today. Had a couple missed opportunities, but in all, it was a good day. There was a guy out there that was broke down, Alan Oldham, and he had a real nice limit of fish, and I stopped and brought him in, then went back out and went fishing, and I only had 2 at the time and caught 1 more. So, but really, I can't complain. You know, had a great day. The fish just today were just swiping at the bait. And they just weren't taking it like they were yesterday.
We have got one of the guys right up there towards the top. Welcome, Mark Tucker. Mark, get up here.
Hi, Fish.
Are you nervous?
No, I just really discouraged today. The fish didn't bite like I wanted them to, and I had an excellent partner today. I mean, we fished great together, and you know, there's so much places to fish, and you can't fish them fast enough when you're making a big run. And
he's got a good shot moving up 5 pounds, 14 ounces, 5:14. Good job this week.
Thank you.
There he goes.
All right, we're here with another Missouri angler, Scott Polly. Scott, you were in 3rd place coming in the final day of competition. How'd you do?
Well, not so good today. I just have 1 keeper, weighs probably close to 3 pounds. They just quit biting for me, and it was tough, but had a good week and glad. Wish I'd have finished stronger, but glad to do as good as I did.
Missouri.
And look at this comeback now, folks. This is what it is all about. He's in 4th place. He's got his son with him, Chad.
Yeah, he's braving the cold to get out here. He went deer hunting with Grandpa this morning, so he's had a big day.
Let's go to the scales. He needs 12 pounds to take the lead in this event from Osage Beach, Missouri. Watch the weight go. Yo! 11 pounds, 11 ounces. 11 ones all the way across the scale.
Well, I had a feeling it was going to be just shy when they told me I needed 12. I didn't do what I needed to do this week to win. I didn't put every bite I had in the boat. So when you don't do that, you're probably not going to win, and it just happened.
What did you do this week? Were you pitching jigs around the boat docks?
Yeah, every fish I caught was on a Chameleon Cross Strike King Pro Model jig, throwing a 1/2 ounce version down in the clear water. I didn't have much company, and I thought that was going to help to where I might be able to pick off a few more fish, and some of the guys maybe fishing up in the river might split the fish up between them. But
all right, Chad, get ready. You're probably going to be going home with one of those big Rangers if the weight holds up.
Well, it's not a real long tow to my house.
All right, there he goes, Chad Brower. One more round of applause for that guy.
As you can see, Kurt's got his partner right here, making sure that none of these fish get out. As he put it earlier, he's got a guy playing free safety right here. Have you ever lost one trying to do this in a tournament?
No, but I've heard of it. That's too close for me.
Too much money on the line today, so got to get them in the bag. They're in. Kurt, we'll see you up on the stage.
Okay, great. Look forward to it.
The Bassmasters, brought to you by Long John Silver's. You can't resist the cravings. Ever-Troll, stay out longer, catch more fish. Kumho Tires, Kumho is the way to go. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. And by MotorGuide. With MotorGuide, you can take on the world.
JLs, how did you do today?
I only got 2 today. I was only getting 4 or 5 keeper bites a day the last 2 days, and I had that again today. And today I lost a couple of fish on cables and stuff around the docks. I broke my line, so. But I'd executed flawlessly the first 2 days. I hadn't lost a fish, and I guess it caught up with me a little bit today. But I wasn't on the fish to win it anyway, apparently, because Kurt really caught some big ones.
Give this guy a warm welcome from Virginia. Your current leader as of 2 days, Kurt Lytle. Kurt, you made it in, baby.
I can't believe it, Fish. I guess I just feel like this lake has been fantastic to me. I really stumbled on these fish the first day and figured out how to catch them, and for whatever reason, I caught 6 fish the first day, 5 yesterday, and 5 today. Never caught a fish but the first day once, and I just got very, very fortunate.
He's going to need around 15 pounds. Watch the weight. Just kidding, he's 7'8". He's got it! There he is! 14 pounds, 3 ounces, 14.3.
Kurt Lytle is the champion of the Central Invitational Lake of the Ozarks Bassmasters tournament with a 3-day total of 42 pounds, 15 ounces. For his efforts, Kurt takes home cash and prizes of $51,000. Congratulations to our Virginia Angler first place champion, Kurt Lytle. Now let's take a look at the rest of the top 10.
After today's second place finish, Todd Faircloth leads the Central Invitational points race with 587 points. Fellow Texan Jay Yellis is only 4 points behind, followed by Scott Rook of Arkansas with 580 points. And in the 4th classic qualifying spot is Kelly Jordan with 575 points. This week's 4th place finish has put Dustin Wilkes only 8 points out of 4th. With 2 Central Invitationals left, the 5 classic qualifying spots are still up for grabs. Our champion in the Central Invitational, the second stop out of 4 on the Bass Angler Sportsman Society Tournament Trail. Welcome, Kurt Lytle, and congratulations.
Thank you, Fish. This is just an amazing lake. I love this lake, and I guess things just worked out well for me in this tournament because I found fish that I didn't know I'd found. I actually practiced and got several bites a day, but when the tournament started, all of a sudden I started catching limits, and normally patterns go away, but this one just got stronger.
Well, working out well, you said earlier. How about this? He leads the event on day 1, day 2, and then you wind it out, you win the whole thing on day 3. Tell me a little bit about the baits that you used.
Oh, gosh, actually, I hate to have wanted to have been leading it the first day, because normally if you lead the first day, I feel like there's so much pressure, and I've crumbled under that in the past. But through bait selection and by changing a little bit every day, the fish, I think, moved off the bank and tightened up to the bluffs that I was fishing. And so what I did was I threw a crankbait on the chunk rock, and this is a prototype hog collar bait, and I threw a jerk bait on the bluffs. Now, I really probably caught 2/3 of the fish or 3/4 of the fish on the jerk bait, but I caught more on the crankbait the first day, and then today especially, they had to have the jerk bait. They were real fussy. They were just, I guess they were thinking it was wintertime and time to hibernate, if that's what fish do.
Talk about lots of clothes. I know you wore them all week. All the guys were complaining about the weather. It got awfully cold. But, hey, you win this thing. You've been to a Bassmasters Classic with us last year in Chicago. I want to see Kurt Lytle back at the Classic this year.
I hope I can get back to the Classic, too, but it won't be through this circuit. Last year I made the Classic through the Central Invitationals, and this year my only chance is through the 150 because I didn't catch but 3 fish in the first Red River tournament. But I love the Central tournaments. These lakes suit me because if you can see it on the bank, it's worth throwing to. We don't fish off the bank in these lakes, and I enjoy that. Where I'm from in Virginia, a lot of people fish off the bank, and my strength is not that. My strength is shallow water fishing.
Great job, Kurt. Next stop on the circuit, Sam Rayburn Reservoir in Jasper, Texas. Congratulations.
Thanks, Fish.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.